Call the meeting to order. Please rise and join me for the pledge of the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we'll start with our open forum. Is there anyone that would like to come forward and address the board at this time? Okay, next we have the public hearing regarding tax abatement of a new home. Dr. Funk?
Yeah, this is another opportunity for people who would like to speak on the future tax abatement that'll be voted on here in a little bit by the school board.
And just for a little more information on the tax abatement is for any new housing, and the city and the county have already passed they already have resolutions, so they're asking us to also participate. Okay, we have celebrating our successes, Mark Grossklaus.
So I would ask that the AP teachers come forward that are here tonight. So Mr. Gantz and friends.
Supposed to be celebrating the students, Mark, not us.
Yeah, no, well, we'll do both at the same. So we have three of our AP teachers here tonight, Therese Netzer, Jess Gregory, and Kevin Gentz. And so the students that we're going to be celebrating tonight, much of their success is due to the support they receive from these teachers. So just wanted to recognize them. They can stay up here as we present to the students. So the first group of students that we're going to present tonight are what are called AP Scholar. And these students are granted the AP Scholar based on they received 3s or above, so a 3, 4, or 5, on 3 or more AP exams. So if you are in the audience, which I know some of my friends are still here, they haven't gone off to college yet, would you come forward? Grace Chalmers, Zach Glazier. The other students also receiving this are Mackenzie Kenyon, Luke Matson, and Gigi Otten. You got to come around this way, you guys. So these students could have gotten 4s or 5s, but they got a minimum of 3 on the at least 3 tests. So congratulations. Anything you guys want to say? All right. All right. Congratulations. The next AP Scholar with honors is granted to a student who received an average score of at least 3.25 on all exams taken and 3 or higher on 4 or more of the exams. And Aaliyah Vernus is the recipient of that. I don't think Aaliyah was able to be here tonight. And then our last AP Scholars, AP Scholar with Distinction, granted to students who received an average score of at least 3.5 on all AP exams taken, and a score of 3 or higher on 5 of those exams. So they are Chris Abrego, Alex Dulitz, Kathleen Funk, Rowan Kraft, and Jacob Ware. Give the 3 of you opportunities to speak. I don't know, Chris, if I should be saying this, but
Well, I'm
planning on double majoring in math and computer science, and because I passed the English one, I don't have to take an English class in college.
What a bummer for you.
I got
You
to
are
end it,
missing
got to
out.
end it with Netzer, so that was.
I'm planning on double majoring in political science and economics at McAllister this fall.
I'm going to University of Wisconsin-Madison, and I'm going to major in computer science and maybe something else.
Minor in mathematics.
All right, well, thank you all for being here tonight.
Thank you. Thank you. And you too. Thank you. All right, hey, Katie, here. Want to pull the superintendent card, take a quick picture. Okay.
Have fun. Be good. Keep it tough.
Next, we have,
4 5s and a 3.
next we have Mark Jensen. Mark?
So if you don't know Mark, you should. He is a network administrator for the district, one of our super amazing tech guys. Mark has been with us for over 17 years. He said his anniversary is coming up shortly, and so Mark makes all this work here. He makes all this work. He makes all of those Chromebooks work. He just is a amazing colleague, and I say that because he just, if you need something, you can text him on Sunday night, hey, the superintendent's email's not working. He'll get it fixed, or hey, students' devices aren't working, or way back in the corner of Halverson, we seem to have problems, and he will troubleshoot to the nth degree until it's fixed. I had the opportunity to work with Mark a couple of years ago when we were unveiling the Apple iPads and unwrapping 400 of them, and so we worked closely together. And what you don't know is probably is Mark is pretty much self-taught, which is pretty amazing. He needs to learn something, he digs in, he takes the course, he goes out online. When we do testing, he goes to the top level of Pearson. He doesn't bother with the lowly people at the Department of Ed. He just goes right to the top. So it is really with great privilege that I get the opportunity to recognize Mark Jensen and all of his work. Did you want to say something, Mark?
No.
Just type it up.
What you don't know is, Mark, when did you become the network administrator, Mark? How many years ago?
Be 6 or 7, somewhere in there.
We had constant issue after issue after issue with our network until Mark came in. And really, since Mark has taken over as the network administrator, things have been a much stronger platform for the district, and we've also added thousands and thousands of devices. And Mark is the total unsung hero. He strings cable, he connects on the front end, the back end, and he is one of the MVPs of this district that no one ever hears about. So great to help out, Mark.
Thank you.
Okay, our next agenda item is approving tonight's agenda. I entertain a motion.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of approving tonight's agenda signify by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign. Motion carries. Next, we have our consent items. We do need to pull 7.7 at this time, which was a memo of understanding.
Yeah, for
that
the
was-
e-learning. So we met this morning on it. There's a few questions on it from the ALEA. So it's good? Okay, we're good.
Okay, I guess
Oh.
we'll approve everything then.
Okay.
Okay? Is there a motion to approve it?
I'll move to accept the consent item.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of tonight's consent items signify by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign. Motion carries. Next, we have reports, starting with Dr. Funk.
It's been a busy few weeks here. We're up about 60 students since July 1st, so that's a good sign for the district. We are currently on budget for 1920. We have 319.8, 320 licensed staff, professional licensed staff as of today. We have one teacher shortage currently. We had Polly Schultz at Southwest Middle School died unexpectedly last week, and so we will be filling that position soon. Her funeral is Friday at 10 a.m. at St. Theodore's, for those who are interested. Currently, we're right around 3,500 students. That includes pre-K, but that does not include ALC students. ALC students start tomorrow, so I'll get a better handle on what that looks like then. Just a quick construction update. The bleachers, I heard the rumor last week that we lost the bleachers someplace. We never lost the bleachers. They were being delivered on Friday. They're starting to go in as we speak. So they're being installed this week. The parking lot, the blacktop, is supposed to be going in at Hammer this week. We are waiting on glass for the press box, and we are waiting on glass for the offices at Halverson as well. So we were supposed to have some of that delivered a week or two ago. It has not come in yet, and so we're working on the manufacturer trying to get them to come respond to us to find out what's going on with that. So that seems to be the biggest holdup for anything. We anticipate that, the field and the stands will be playable for September 3rd, so for our first soccer game. So we hope that we'll have glass for the press box, and then that whole building will become occupiable, and we should be good for concessions and all that stuff. So that's the real holdup at Hammer at this point. At Halverson, the parking lot is complete. The new entrance is accessible. We've blocked off the new office area, but you can walk right in as the normal entrance to the building. And so we're good there. And like I said, we're waiting on the glass. The gymnasium is still looking at late October, early November. That's on schedule for Halverson. So it's been a busy couple weeks, but it's been a good first day of school. We had the last students. The bus transfer is always a significant delay on the first day, as we're getting kindergartners off one bus at Southwest and making sure that they go on to another bus. The last bus left at 3:40 today, so probably 15 minutes longer than normal, but pretty typical for a first day of school.
e-commerce. They're conducting, or they're planning on conducting training sessions for local businesses so that they can do as we all need to do in this world, adapt to the current business trends, and that means e-com, being able to do business electronically on the internet and so on. That seems to be the mode these days, and so if they're going to survive, then people need to keep up with that. Been very busy. It's getting to be almost a full-time job. The Education Foundation, I was also at the kickoff, and it was my happiness to be first on the agenda. Reminds me of a few years back when Ken was also the chair of the board and greeted people, and I walked in my usual 15 minutes late or so, and he said, well, nice you could make it, Neil. And so I was on time this time, and I got to present the teacher grants that the Education Foundation provides for teachers. I described that, I think, last time, so that was good. Right now, the crisis on the Education Foundation is to plan for the banquet coming up to honor distinguished alumni and distinguished educators. So this is the second year of the Distinguished Educators Program, where we recognize people on the other side of the desk, the teachers, administrators, presumably anybody that has contributed to the education of our youth. And then the Distinguished Alumni Program, which has been in effect for, I think this is the 19th year now. The banquet honoring, there will be 8 inductees, 4 of each, I won't mention their names, will be September 19th. I need to read this before my phone dies. September 19th at Woodward Cove, starting with a social hour at 6 o'clock, dinner at 6:30, and 7 o'clock program. So that's September 12th. And then the next day, that's a Thursday, the next day, Friday.
Did you just say the 19th?
12th.
12th.
Did I say 19th? Yeah. I'm sorry. It's 2019. I'm just slightly dyslexic. September 12th at the Cove, beginning at 6 o'clock, dinner at 6:30, 7 o'clock program. And that's Thursday. And then the following Friday, and Mark Grosskaus may have some information on this, the distinguished alumni present, usually in the morning around 9 o'clock to the senior. 9 o'clock, very good. To the student by seniors. And that's, I remember that when I was in the staff, and I always look forward to it, and it was well received by the seniors. These distinguished alumni of Albert Lee High School give a pretty well-constructed, most of the time, description of what it takes to be successful in this world. And, the seniors actually are interested in that. And it's a pretty good event. All right, that's it.
I also attended the staff kickoff, and I stayed for the cultural training that followed. I attended the Family Services Collaborative, where we spoke about spending down the final funding from the existing grant and looking for more grant funding. We also talked about bylaws and found out after the meeting that some good news that the Youth Advisory Council at Southwest is moving ahead in establishing that.
Just staff kickoff was a lot of fun always, but last week took the privilege of walking through Halverson School, and what a fun time. It's so neat to see the plans drawn up and then see how all the rooms line up, even the storage spaces and the place for the mailboxes. So that was fun. Tanya took me around in the gym, his storage, but boy, what a nice improvement. I was really excited to see it all coming together, and even the entryway, feeling really good about the safety that we'll be placing out at Halverson. So great tour. Take a chance if you get a few minutes to spend out there.
Future meeting once it gets completed for the board to tour.
Hello. It's been it has been a whole month since I've been here. I feel a little out of the loop. I'm a member of the AAUW, and one of the things that we're doing is trying to find resources and ideas to increase the graduation rate for minority students. So that's something we're an ongoing thing we're working on. and then I went to the Southwest, back to school day, and very well done, no little chaos, you know, it just worked really well, and we were running a little late, so I'm very, very happy that it just flowed so nicely. So that's all I got.
Well, Kim and Neil talked about the business education and the education foundation. The only other piece that I had, I've had a lot of meetings out of town, so I was in Anaheim with YMCA of the USA for meetings, and we're sitting in the auditorium, and they do a mission moment, and Peggy Bennett pops up on this 2.5-minute video. She worked with students in the cities. It's a Y program up there, but foster care was an issue and a problem, and she was able to get those students not only to present in front of hearings, but push the bill all the way through, and it passed unanimously. So it was just a real kudos to be out there and see somebody from Alvarez Lee that is truly making a difference. So I wanted to recognize that. Unfortunately, I missed the all-staff meeting and the Southwest, but those are always great opportunities to meet and visit with everybody.
Next. I'm Al Halverson, president of the ALEA. A few years back, Dr. Funk, Mark Schody, myself, and Janice, we would meet often, and we thought it'd be kind of nice and interesting to have a member of the ALEA sit up here sort of as a resource and to give some information as to what's going on. And so that's why we're here. And it's going to be this year. I'm first, and then we have our exec council is going to cycle through. So there'll be a different person up here from our exec council every time. So that's that. I sent out an email to a couple people, or a couple people sent me some emails on some things that have been happening. Kristen Seeger is on our LCAT committee. They help and welcome the new teachers. They gave all the new teachers a bag, you know, new to the town, that has an Alberley Tigers t-shirt, Alberley Schools engraved tumbler, a 2-week free pass to Snap Fitness, $25 punch card to the rock wall in the boathouse, and the Alberley area literature from the Convention and Visitors Bureau was given to all of our new teachers. Over at Hawthorne, is that where, yeah, Hawthorne. She said, I had a member get back to me and said they're all having school picnics next week. I don't know if that means this week because she sent it to me last week, so I'm assuming it's this week. At Hawthorne, they have a new lunchroom floor that's very nice and it brightens up the basement. And they also have a sensory path where decals in the hall for kids to follow, skip, jump, hop, and et cetera, to letter or number to number. Over at Southwest, our parking lot looks great, and not just looking great, but it's a lot more safe. It's clearly marked, and the kids can get out of the way or know where they need to be. We had our orientation open house, last Thursday that was real successful. I was talking with Dennis about that. When you see the 7th graders come in, they're all cool as cucumbers, but the 6th graders are all nervous. And so we had an orientation today for just 6th graders that I talked with our principal, Chris Dibble, and the other staff, and I was there. And it went really well, and I think it's a really good idea. And I talked to some 8th grade teachers at the high school, and they said the same thing. Let's see. And we had a new teacher luncheon for our new teachers as well. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll move on to curriculum and instruction, E3. Gail Brownlow.
Hello, I just wanted to give a little recap on a program that we send about 25 students to in Austin. It is a collaborative program between Albert Lee, Austin, and then some smaller districts. We've got Lyle, Hayfield, and Southland are all sending students to this program. You can just change the next one. ECUBE stands for Engineering and Environmental Sciences for Everyone, which is a mouthful, so I am guessing most of the kids that go just call it ECUBED, is what they attend. The program is one Saturday a month beginning in November. through the school year, and then for 14 days in the summer. So it's a huge time commitment, and continually the kids say how much they love it. So they're going to extra school and love it. It is a STEM program focusing on science, technology, engineering, and math, but they also work with the environment as they're learning. So you can see pictures here at the end of their summer session. They have a time where they invite families in to see some of their work through the year. And these are all Albert Lee students that I cornered to take their pictures with some of their work. And I can't describe the work, but I assure you they all had to do with the environment and what they were learning. They have a different theme every year. So one year it's water cycle, and one year it's habitats of animals, and there's a 3-year cycle. So we try to invite students as 4th graders. We have been inviting 2 4th graders from every school in our district to attend, and then we hope to encourage them to continue 4th, 5th, 6th grade. So it's a 3-year cycle, and I'm amazed at how many kids continue through the 3 years. And then I had a lot of sad 6th graders at this program because they were having to end the program. The students have lunch provided while they're there, and we have transportation. We bus them there, and our funding is through the integration grant. Do you have any questions about it?
I do have a question. What percentage of the kids stay all 3 years?
It is high. I don't have a number for you. If we have students that drop out, they're usually 6th graders, and they're becoming busy with other events. I know robotics is taking some of our kids away because they have competitions on the weekends as 6th, 7th graders. That's a newer program. So that did take a few away, but overall, most of them do continue all 3 years.
And for the spots that are open, if they don't continue, are they filled with new students or not?
We try to hold our numbers to about 25. So most of our new spots are all to 4th graders. So we fill them with 4th graders because I really want them to grow and have all 3 years.
Are they the same projects in each year? The 4th graders and 5th graders, 6th, they all do the same?
It's a 3-year cycle, so they get... No, they're all mixed. And one of the big goals of the program is for these kids to work with the kids from the other districts and make friends. So I know the little boy on the lower left corner, he was very concerned about going, and he was all smiles at the end of his 4th grade year. He's a 4th grader there, 5th grader this year.
Great program.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks.
Next, we have High Reliability Schools, Mark and Teresa and Jill.
There we go.
I'll let them touch that. Thank you for this opportunity. As you know, we had staff members, teachers, and administrators go to Denver to the conference on high reliability schools. And then last Thursday, Mike Ruley came and presented to the whole district. And so we're going to give you an update on what the high reliability schools and what we've done so far. So I will let the ladies go first.
I know you had a little overview last year. I'm Jill Peterson, for those of you that don't know. And thanks for coming to the kickoff for those of you that did, especially on your birthday. Yeah. Anyway, it's kind of come as a group. There were some teachers several years ago that were looking at level 2 of this, how to streamline the instruction and the components there. And then Mark also went out to Denver and actually looked at high reliability schools, the whole unit of it. So It's been a group effort, and I can't say enough about the time we had in Denver, because it was really informational, but it was also really motivational, and, you know, came midsummer, so it was really a good time, because I think a lot of us are really pumped up for the year. Oh, thanks. So just a quick recap of what it is. It's really a long-term school improvement plan with short-term specific areas of focus. They talked a lot about taking manageable chunks to improve your craft. I think historically in education, we're really well researched. We know a lot of things that are going on, but sometimes it's detrimental. There's a lot of things that come on the plate, and we try a lot of things, and sometimes we have too many things going on. So this is really going to focus us. It's going to make us start in one area, and then when we are there and we can prove we're there, we're going to go on and then keep working here, but keep going on. So if you're aware of HRO, High Reliability Organizations, they've been around for a long time. High Reliability Schools is the school portion of that. And so it combines what we know works, so taking the research and what we know works, and then it adds that with what exists already in schools, what people are doing really well already. So I don't want to say it's a feel-good thing, but it is going to make us feel good, because it is going to show us some things we're doing well before we have to make these improvements, which is nice. It'll give us systems to merge all of the best practice. And then it will help us identify where we need to improve.
I'm Tree Snetzer. I'm an instructional coach and English teacher at the high school. And I went to Denver also, so I'll just piggyback on what Jill said. She said that HRS deals with manageable chunks, and it's levels where you start at the one, and when you get that one, you work towards the next one while still working on the first one you were at. So here you can see the 5 levels. So we start with level 1, which establishes safe, supportive, and collaborative culture in each school. So we're really assessing how do all the stakeholders in the individual school feel we're doing in terms of safety, support, and collaboration. The next level then works up into what Jill mentioned before, effective teaching in every classroom. This is what instructional coaches are working on all the time. And actually, we've been using Marzano quite a bit anyways, so it's nice that we're making this move because we've been doing a lot of work with it as it is. The third one is really exciting, especially for the high school. This deals with guaranteed and viable curriculum, which means rooting content in the standards. And so this year, we have a pilot group at the high school moving towards standards-based learning, which is really exciting. So we're already starting to tap into level 3. They did mention that levels 4 and 5 are less frequently attained by schools because they deal with big systems changes and philosophical changes, and a lot of places aren't ready for that. That's standards reference reporting and competency-based education.
And also optional. Some districts just opt not to do them.
So the way that you get identified as achieving a level is through surveys. Again, like I said, for all the stakeholders. So this is an example of the short form for level 1 safe, supportive, and collaborative culture. So all the stakeholders will get a survey that looks like this, but is probably expanded to be a little bit more specific. And it assesses where are we right now? How do you feel in terms of being in this school? Students, staff, all staff, parents will be taking the surveys. Then we get the results back, and now we have, like Jill said, concrete information of what we're doing well and what we need to work on. And then, like it says at the bottom, it gives us motivation to prove that we're successful in those areas and specifics on what we need to improve the areas we're weaker in.
So one of the big things when Mike Ruley came here was helping teachers understand this was not a new initiative. This wasn't something that, oh, here comes another initiative, and you've been in education for a while, you know, there's all these different things that come along, and if you've been in it long enough, you're kind of like, okay, what's next? So this is taking all the things that we're already doing, it's all researched, and we're focusing on how do we keep improving our craft. And so the first step, of course, is that survey. And so all staff members in the district will be surveyed on September 4th. And that includes custodians, paraprofessionals, secretarial staff in each building. So each building's surveyed by itself. In the fall, we will survey students and parents. Specific dates have not been determined, and we're working on those details on how to make it accessible for everyone. But all staff members will be starting it on the 4th. We'll probably have a window of a few days open. And then once we have both student, parents, and staff surveys back, then they'll give us our results back. So they get sent to Colorado, they'll take all the information, and then they'll send it back to us with what we're doing well, and can you prove it? Because it's one thing to say you're doing it well, but show evidence that you're doing it. And then what are areas that you could improve on? So I believe there are 7 schools, if I counted right, including the ALC. We could all be at different areas based on each building. And so, as I mentioned, as you're looking at these different levels, one school this year might qualify as level 1, and the rest of us need to keep working. All of us could qualify, which would be really exciting. And people can move at different paces. So one of the speakers in Colorado, he had a very difficult middle school he was the principal of. He was able to get through level 3 in basically 1 year. He was transferred in his own district to the highest, one of the top 10 high schools in Texas. It's taken him 3.5 years to get to level 1 there. So it's all based on staff, student, and parent input, how fast and where you go. I kind of already mentioned this, so it's electronic SurveyMonkey that staff will be using. We'll probably do the same.
It comes from HRS.
Yep, so it comes from the Marzano Research Group. HRS is the program that we're using. And so it will be sent back to them, and then they have their data experts send the information to us. So it's, we don't collect it, they're collecting, and then they're sending it back with what are called leading indicators, where you're at. So, but the students and staff will take it for sure electronically, because we have that ability. But then we're looking at how do we get to the most parents. And for example, at the high school, we have conferences in the beginning of September. So we're looking at making that an opportunity of one option for parents. If they come to conferences, they could do it. We'll also have paper versions, different things like that, hopefully, so that we can reach as many parents as possible.
Does it start at kindergarten, or is it pre-K?
Grade 3 is where we're working at, just because of that K through 3, the language of trying to cover some of this. It will only include staff that have been at Albert Lea at least 1 year. So we're not asking new teachers to try to do this, because that would be, they don't know what the culture is or issues with the school. So it'll be year 2 staff and beyond. And like I said, I'm excited to see convincing my custodians that they need to sit down at a computer and take a survey. This will be the best part of my job probably this year. So
these are some of the things that we came back with some examples. So when we were out in Denver, some examples of things that schools might do at a level 1, just to build the culture, the community, the collaboration. For the students, sending postcards home, making sure every child gets one. I know high school did that, and I still have kids that still hang on to them. Something that could be directly from Albert Lea, like a Tiger Pride shirt stickers, where when you see them using Tiger Pride, they, get some sort of sticker on their shirt. Principals making a good call of the day. Mark the map, which, if you'll go ahead one and come back. This would be one for the safety component, so you could give the kids a map, high school, elementary school, whatever, of the school, of the bus, and the kids would mark in green where they feel safe, in yellow where they're a little unsure, and then in red areas that they have felt unsafe. For example, it could be bathrooms, it could be on the bus. And this would be a great place for us to gather more information and make plans for. CIC always check in and check out, giving kids a safe environment. They check in with an adult in the morning and check out with them in the afternoon, make sure that their day was all right. The social workers and counselors in our buildings. For staff, just building your culture in meetings, like just having a 2-minute share, getting to know each other. We have new staff all the time, and that's something that we hear a lot. You know, can we spend a little time getting to know each other? A relaxation room in a building where we really could use it. I can't, you know, it might be tough for teachers to sit down and relax for a minute, but just even a place where nursing mothers can go and, you know, pump and be private, and, you know, we have issues like that. So a little book in a lounge where you would fill it out, and, you know, if Ken's favorite candy is a Snickers bar and he's having a bad day and Kim noticed that, then she could buy him a Snickers one day. But just knowing what people like and what they appreciate. Kudos for colleagues, just mentioning out loud what people are doing well. And then the collaboration and supportive pieces of PLCs, mentors, coaches. So those are just some ways we might respond depending on what our data shows that we need. I think that was it. I think that's it. Yeah, so thank you. Any questions?
You'll be happy to know, when I heard about this, I immediately went home and went to the website and enrolled in Marzano Resources, and I now have the handbook, and I'm an expert on this whole.
Well, we will reach out to you then, Neil. That's good.
About the cost of the program, including the travel and training and all that. I know our finance person isn't here. Maybe we don't have that tonight, but maybe I can ask a follow-up question at another meeting unless you have any information.
I can give you some very general information. So this was teacher-driven, and so it comes out of our learning team. So there's money set aside for staff development. That's where the money came. And then the administrator's cost was covered by our travel allowance. So we made sure that we agreed to use our money for a 2-year period so that we're not going anywhere besides this. We believe in it so much. So it was all covered by funds that are set aside for this. So
I can have Jennifer update the board on specifics, but as Mark stated, this was a learning team-driven initiative, and he's spoken to what the administrator's cost was.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Well, thank you for being here, and thanks for the information. Okay, moving on to our immunization requirements, policy 530. Tammy?
So yeah, basically, Tammy, you can come up, but I think that this is the third reading. We've adjusted it based upon feedback we've received. I think, what are your questions?
I'd move approval.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Okay. We'll call.
The letters will go out this week then, probably, or? This week or next, yeah. Thank you.
Okay, then, we'll call a question. All those in favor of policy 530 for the final reading signify by saying aye. 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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next, we have resolution of tax abatement for a new home.
Yeah, so this is the base agreement that expired at the end of 2018, it looks like here. Might have expired for us June 30th, but for this one, we have it January 1st, 2019 to December 31st, 2021. So this allows us to do the individual abatements for the homes. So basically, we're asking the board to pass this resolution, and then the next item on the agenda is the individual homes.
Okay. As I mentioned before, I know this city and I think the county have already passed this, so I'd entertain a motion. Is there a second? Okay, any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor of the resolution on the tax abatement for new home construction signify by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign. Motion carries. Next, we have a resolution for property tax abatement.
Go ahead and scroll, Ashley. All right, we've got the Jeffrey and Mary Ewing, Mark and Allison Heineman. I think that's it. So, new construction.
Okay,
I'll move approval.
okay. We have a motion and second. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor of the proposed tax abatement properties signify by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign. Motion carries. Next, we have policies for annual review. Kathy.
So these are 4 policies that have no statutory changes and no recommended changes from the Minnesota School Board Association. Just to highlight our family medical leave policy, it grows every few years as the legislature makes changes, and a little shout out to Angela Murphy, who works in our office, and she does a great job with staff answering questions and getting paperwork out and helping people fill this out when they have medical needs, and she just does a really great job. So those 4 policies, there are no changes.
Okay, any questions? All right. This is part of our review process and policies, so we'll just move on from there. Next, I'd entertain a motion to go into closed session under Minnesota Statute 13D.05, Subdivision 3.
So moved.
Okay. All those in favor of going into closed session signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Yeah, sure. Okay, we're going to recess just for a minute here. Okay, then I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
No, we can't. I've got a dinner appointment at 7. What am I going to do for it?
Okay, meeting's adjourned.